Hi there, folks, and welcome to this episode of Michael's 3D World. I have some exciting news. It's a big day. It's like a monumentous day here in the 3D printing world here for Michael's 3D World. And I say that because what started all this 3D printing fun, as I call it, is Creality came out with a 3D print mill called the CR30. That was on a Kickstarter campaign that I participated in way back, I think it was late October, early November. I put my money in the Kickstarter to get a 3D print mill with extension table for about $780. I understand they're out there on the market for sale now for $1,050-ish, somewhere in that range. I picked mine up for the $780. It just arrived. This is May. So we went December, January, February, March, April, May, 6 months later. I knew it was going to be a long haul, and they said in the Kickstarter campaign right away that it wouldn't be till May when they'd start shipping and getting them out. Well, if you've never participated in a Kickstarter campaign before, there are some things I didn't know. Like when the Kickstarter goal was met, there was a survey I was supposed to fill out. The survey was for Creality to have my shipping information well in advance. I was late in filling that out. So I was probably toward the end of the Kickstarter campaign supporters that got their 3D print mill. But it's finally here. And I'm not disappointed because they said it would be, May anyway. Here we are in May. So, they met my goal. Well, I'd like to say long story short, but too late, right? I bought into it and I thought, well, cool, I'll get my first 3D printer and I'm going to start a 3D printing channel. But then I got to thinking, man, there's so much going on in the 3D printing world. I can't wait till May to kick off the channel. So I bought my first Ender 3 V2 back here in the corner and started playing around with it and learning a lot about printing and stuff. And I started this 3D channel back in December of 2020. This is 2021, right? And it's been a success. A lot of people have watched my channel. I've got a decent amount of subscribers. I got a great audience that ask a lot of fantastic questions, and it's just good. This is all good stuff. Don't want to take anything away from anybody there. But today I have the 3D print mill, and we're going to do the unboxing of that 3D print mill, and I'm going to go through the learning curves of how to print with this thing because everything is a little bit different. The head's at a 45-degree angle. It has an infinite. I don't know if it's Y or X yet. I got to dig into it a little more. There's some other videos I want to watch on setting this thing up. The slicer that you use is a different slicer than you use for the rest of the 3D printers because the slice is at a 45-degree angle versus, horizontal slicing. So, lots of things to learn. Let's dig in. Let's get this thing unboxed. Get all the pieces on my countertop here, and let's try to put it together. Let's see what we got to do to put it together. I haven't watched any assembly videos. I watched a few of them way back a few months ago, but I haven't watched anything recently. Let's see if I can hop on the old struggle bus and see if I can get this done. The events you're about to see are real. None of this is fictitious. None of this is scripted. None of this has been made up ahead of time, except up here in Crazy Land. So let's jump in and unbox this bad boy. Here it is in all of its boxed up glory. Naomi Wu, 3D print mill. Naomi Wu's 3D print mill. I encourage you to go follow her channel. She's a very intelligent person in Shenzhen, China, I believe. She's the one that was instrumental in helping get this 3D print mill and worked closely with Creality to get this thing released. The reason I'm doing this way is because these cables are connected and laid in here, and you can't lift out one without the other at this point. So I don't want to put any stress on anything. Because quite a bit of it's pre-assembled, and this base is no joke for heavy. Now the interesting part, as part of my campaign, I paid for the extension. So when this thing rolls off the end of the plate, it has extension rollers for doing long prints. That wasn't in this package. I'm going to have to reach out to them and ask them where that was, because I did pay the extra money to have that. So there's not much to assemble here. There looks like there's 2 pieces here in that assembly to create our triangle. Okay, it looks like this showing these 2 pieces be bolted on the front first step. They do have all the bolts and stuff clearly marked. So it's an M5 by 12. There's 4 of them. There's an M5 by 8. M5 by 12. Now you guys are going to think I'm crazy here, but I'm going to have to take a look and see what's under the hood of this particular machine. I'm curious what kind of fans are on it, and I'm curious what kind of power supply it's got on it, along with the motherboard. Since I'm not up and operational yet, let's just go ahead and pull this bottom cover off and take a look inside. Well, it looks like it's got a V4 2.10 motherboard on it. Power supply maybe? So that's what it says right there, Hunt key, HUNTKEY. Power supply. Well, the wiring looks nice and tidy. It's got a fan here that's going to make some noise. And it's got this little insult of a fan here that's going to make some noise, I guarantee it. But we'll put it together first and see how much noise it actually makes. Well, I took the power supply cover off to see what was under the hood, and I dropped 2 screws on the floor, and they went under my counter. And this is why I can't have nice things. Good news is I found those 2 screws and put them in. So I'm back to having a nice thing until I wreck it. So that was pretty simple. 2 screws here, 2 there, 1 on the back side here, 1 on the back side here. Then we got 3 we had to put on the side here, 1 on the bottom, 3 on this other side of the bottom, and you got, I mean, this thing's rigid. Now, I haven't got everything completely locked down yet, so I'll go ahead and do that. Just remember, when you're putting stuff together like this, this is just aluminum. Don't tighten it till the water runs out of it. Okay, what do we got to do next? We got the framework put together. So the spool holder goes right here. I'm guessing you got to use a couple of T-nuts. Shows it going right up there. Well, okie dokie, artichoke. Oh no, T-nuts in this mount thing. If you guys have watched my other videos, these T-nuts were my nemesis. So I presume that's where that goes. Now, it's Auto Home and X. Obviously that's not right. Well, as you saw there, I didn't quite have the Z set right. And the Z setting, setting 0 on this thing's a little different than the other machines. Just because there is a, there's a little screw adjustment in the back. There's 4 little bolts you loosen up, and then you can adjust the Z0 so that this limit switch, it's an optical limit switch that keeps moving things back till you got it where you want it. Now, I watched a few other people set Z0 on this thing, and I was okay with how they did it. After trying it their way once, then I did it my way, and I liked my way better. Which basically on my way, I was taking the knobs here. Let me get you in a little closer and show you kind of what I did. So back here you have these 4 screws, and they're in a slot. And on the bottom side here, which I can't get to with it in this position, there's another screw down here that can adjust this up and down. Now if you follow the instructions, it'll show you, it gives you a 10,000 shim. You want to bring your nozzle down over here till it rests on the bed. Put your 10,000 shim between this face here and this face here. And you do this on both sides. That sets your hard stop. But what I did is I went ahead and set it down like that against the table. And then I went ahead and set it like they said. And then I slowly kept screwing the back screw out. This one screw that's over here, you can't see it. Like I said, you can't see it in this position. But I'll point out where it's at. It's the one that's back under here. With these 4 screws loose, I kept backing it down a quarter turn at a time. And then I'd rehome Z until I had Z on the table where I wanted the nozzle to be. Just like you touch off with a piece of paper on your other printers, like your regular vertical printers, I did that with a 10,000 shim. The other thing I did is I had these backed off. Right now I've got them loose because I was just adjusting it. But I turned these clockwise, so the whole bed was down as far as it would go. Then once I got my shim there at the 10,000 shim there, feeling like I wanted to from left, middle, and right, I started printing. And then when it wasn't sticking, I just turned this knob and raised the bed up until it started sticking, just like I do on my other printers. That seemed to work really well for me. And so far, so good. Now, I have a little bit of squish going on right here in this area, where it wasn't level again, because I've moved this machine around a couple times before I started this print. But now I'm going to do some adjustment to get it sticking good right out of the gate. I just made a quick tweak, because when you turn this counterclockwise, it brings the bed up. And once I like it, I'll just take these two jam nuts here and lock it back down. So a relatively easy process to level the bed, and you don't have to get too carried away with it because of leveling everything, because it just needs to be leveled across that parameter right there. Now, same way here, I have these knobs bottomed out, so the bed's sitting pretty level. I did a long print on it already, and it seemed to work out pretty good. Now, some people have commented about this, the CR30 Print Mill shouldn't be your first printer. I can't disagree wholeheartedly. I found this one very easy to set up. After watching a couple of other videos, just like people that will be watching this video, watch a few people do the setup, and then you gain some experience. Yes, having the previous 6 months experience I have on my other vertical style machines, a regular print, you know, the regular ones before the print mill came out. Yeah, that knowledge was very helpful, no doubt in my mind. I would recommend getting one of those first, just for the simple reason, everything you will print on a regular 3D printer is sometimes more difficult to print on this style printer. This style printer has its purpose. You can't go and print your figurines and your other little whatever else you want to do. The print mill is designed to do, I feel, is designed to do long objects that you can't normally do in a regular 3D printer. It could do a bunch of small things like I'm doing here, and do production runs, so you can sit there and run a whole roll of filament through it and just drop off part after part, especially if you got like just call it a 60 gram part, divided by 1,000 grams, 1,000 grams. You can run a lot of them and not have to worry about it. Just let it spit one after the other, and it'll drop them off into a container for you. So it's all in what are you planning on printing, what types of prints are you planning on doing, and pick your 3D printer from there. Now, I can honestly say that if I had to pick one printer right now, and this is a printer I don't even have, if I had to pick one printer right now and said, okay, I want to start off with this printer, it'd probably be an Ender 5 Plus. Why? Because the table moves up and down like the Ender 5 I've got, and the head moves back and forth so you can print tall things. Because theoretically, I'm just going to say this out loud. You keyboard warriors can tear me up about it if you want. You can print small objects on a big printer, but you can't print big objects on a small printer. So if you want to have a good first printer, like the Ender 5 Plus, I like my Ender 5. It has a little more Z travel than the Ender 3s have, but yes, it does cost a little more to have that style of setup. This Creality CR30 Print Mill is, I think it's going to be a fun one to have. I'm going to come up with some projects to put on it. I've got some things I'll share with you in upcoming videos of some ideas I have about, I can actually print, it's one of those things, I can print picture frames. I can print picture frames that has a groove for the glass and a groove for the backing and all that kind of fun stuff. So that's going to be something you cannot do with the other print mills. When I had to do this enclosure over here to my right, when I had to print it off in sections that were small enough that my printers could handle it, I could have printed it in one strip on this mill, so on this printer. So there's some advantages to having a couple of different styles of printers. It opens up a whole new world of being able to do things one of two or three ways, possibly. Now, with that information being thrown out there at you, I know I just vomited a whole bunch of information at you. I'm going to show you let's get under here and show you how I hooked up my light, and how I got my power, tapped into my power, so I can put my Raspberry Pi that's on here. And right now, The cool part is I'm connected wirelessly now to my computer, like I've done on all my other printers. It's I would highly recommend doing that. I know this seems like it's really lazy, right? That I could. It's no big deal to take an SD card out, go over there and plug it in, transfer your file into it, save to it, come over here and plug it back in. But if you've got 3 or 4 or 5 printers going, to sit there and play around, you know, with SD cards all the time, it can be kind of a pain in the butt. Whereas I can just start and stop and upload and get everything queued up in any of my printers, and then when it's time to hit go, I hit go. So you guys pick your poison. If you're just getting into 3D printing, I would say don't worry about the Raspberry Pi and connecting it that way. Use your little SD card. Get familiar with your printer. Watch a bunch of videos of all these other guys that have printers, and including myself. And then make your best educated decision after watching what everybody else has done. That'd be my word to the wise to you. So anyway, let's jump back in. I'm going to show you what I did to get this thing all connected up. And from what I can see on this machine, very few mods. Right now I haven't done a single mod, not a single mod. I added my Raspberry Pi, but that's it, no modifications so far. At this point in time, the only thing I may do that I have done on other machines is put an micro Swiss all metal hot end on it, because I really like those all metal hot ends. They work really well. So that'd probably be one of the future things I do. But stay tuned. As I do any upgrades to this thing, I'll share with you guys on what I'm doing, and we'll go from there. But anyway, let's get back to the insides of this thing and show you what I did. Well, guys, if you've been watching me for a minute or two, you know I like to hook Raspberry Pis all up to my computer. Now, this did come with a Creality box. I don't know if you guys are familiar with that or not. I think it was Teaching Tech. I watched a video on it. He couldn't get it to work with anything he had. He says they're junk. So I wasn't even going to waste my time. I had to go with the Raspberry Pi. Yes, the Creality box is only $19.99, and you get what you pay for. The Raspberry Pi costs a little more, but it has a more reliable connection that I've had very good luck on my last 7 printers, so why would I go and change now? All right, so I'm going to show you what I did here, because you guys, you can use the Canon kit, the power supply kit that you plug right into your Raspberry Pi for a power source. I've found it very handy to go ahead and tap into my power supply and power my Raspberry Pi through the power supply and the on-off switch that's built onto the machine. This way, one switch does it all. So here I've tapped into, there again, I shouldn't say tap in, but I've hooked onto 2 of the lugs. This normally kicks off 24 volts here. Come out through my buck converter that I've got in here. If you haven't seen my videos before, I would recommend go through, look on one of the other videos. I didn't feel I need to demonstrate it on this one, but the 24 volts come through a buck converter. I turned it down to 5.1 volts. Typically 5 is all you need to run the Pi, but I like to run lights and stuff like that, so I do a little more drawing on the Pi. So 5.1 isn't going to hurt it. It hasn't hurt me so far anyway. Then I'm coming through here, and you guys are going to cringe when I tell you this. I drilled a hole down here so I could have my wire come out through the top. So that's the bottom side. That's all I've done down here. And we'll flip it back on its top, and I'll show you what I did next. All right, as you can see here, I came up through the housing that I drilled the hole in for the power. I ran it up here, kind of looped it around. Got it going into my Raspberry Pi setup. I used 2 little T-nuts here to hold this on to the side of the frame. I did put a little 30mm fan on it. I've got my light and my connector that connects up to the front here, all hooked in. I'd like to get a 90 degree. I'd like to get a 90 degree here so I can come out 90, but that would come right into this, so it'd go opposite way and around. So this may not be too bad. Nice thing is all this can stay tucked under, out of the way. Then I've got this Wham Bam light, as you can see here. It's pretty cool. I got it. Oh, let me go around the other side and show you what it looks like. It's $19.99 from Wham Bam. It's a little LED light. Got it velcroed onto the top beam here. And I just ran the wires down. Just wrapped it around here. Got the little switch on it right there, so lights up the whole surface real well. Plug that right into my Raspberry Pi. I'm not sure what I'm going to do yet. I got a camera mount here. I'm going to do some time lapse with it and see how it turns out. It's just a little Pi camera with a ribbon cable. Got a lot of extra this. I can hang that up there. I'm not sure what I'm going to do with that yet. Not exactly sure. But that's how I'm going to outfit it. And right now I temporarily have a clamp holding the light in place because I ordered a set of T-nuts, an assortment to go along with my screws. And but yeah, let's do a little time lapse and let's run some pieces. As you can see here, I did run some I-beam. I just ran something that I couldn't possibly run on one of my other printers because it's longer, obviously. And you see a lot of people running stuff like this. I'm gonna run another piece, capture it for you in time lapse. I think I'm gonna run some test cubes, maybe like 6 or 7 in a row, type of thing, just to basically demonstrate what the machine's capable of. Having that belt configuration is really nice. As you can see, the head's clear back here, and it's interesting when you home it. I guess I don't know if you want to call it interesting. Let's just go ahead and home it and I'll show you. So when you auto home it, it goes all the way down to the table there, then it'll go all the way to the right. And that's home. The belt doesn't do anything to home because the belt's always basically home, so to speak. But yeah, when you go to start a print, it'll do a little waistline here. It's kind of neat because it lays here, and the waistline will be a Z move, which is the belt. And then it goes over and starts doing its printing wherever you have it laid out on your slicer software. So far, so good. Well, that's it in a nutshell. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Stay tuned if you want to see some time lapse. I got the little Pi camera I hooked up to this thing, recording some time lapse. I'm going to do that over the next 3 to 4 days. I got about another 4 or 5 days before I release this video anyway. That'll give me enough time to do some time lapse for you. There's been a few people out there that's left comments on they enjoy the time lapse. I enjoy watching time lapse. It's kind of cool to watch something that you know, especially if you are a 3D printer, to watch, you know how slow things go, but to see it materialize like that, you know, in a matter of 10 seconds, 15 seconds, you got a 20-hour print. You can see it develop right in front of your eyes, which is pretty cool. But yeah, I'm gonna keep moving on, keep coming up with more 3D things to do. Like I said, I got some ideas on some projects for this 3D print mill. And don't be afraid to follow the links in my description to find your own 3D printing stuff, the supplies, the nuts, the bolts, the hardware, tools, voltmeters, anything that I'm using in my videos. I try to leave links in the description below that'll take you, most likely 9 times out of 10 it's going to take you to Amazon, because that's where you can get a lot of this stuff reasonably priced. And you can also, those links, those affiliate links is what I call them, or what they call them. It basically, if you use my link to go do your purchasing on Amazon, I get a commission for that. It costs you absolutely nothing to do that. It doesn't change anything about your account that you currently have. But if you follow my link to Amazon and you buy whatever you want, that helps the channel out, and it's much appreciated when you do that. So a big thanks for the people that are doing that. It's very much appreciated, very much appreciated. It keeps me in filament and keeps me with ideas and being able to keep bringing content to you folks and afford some of the stuff I'm doing with these printers. Don't forget to subscribe, hit that thumbs up if you like what you see. The thumbs up is, even if you don't subscribe, the thumbs up is more important for the, what do you call it, algorithms that YouTube has that recommends the videos to more people. But yeah, the subscribership and the hit the notification bell, that's also a very positive thing to do too. That way you'll know when I release another video, you'll get notified of it, and then you can go watch some more if you like the kind of content I'm presenting. That's all I got. I hope you guys get out there and have some fun and enjoy life as much as you can, because every day is a gift. That's why they call it the present. I know that's an old one, but a good one. And this is Michael telling you, if it ain't broke, fix it till it is. I'm out. Shooby dooby dooby doo boop 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 boop.